Hello, you're tuning into the English News Bulletin live here on VTV International. In the following, we'll have a look at the headlines for this hour. Production resumes in southern economic zones. Japanese expats express their opinion on the EC tension. And later on, it's off to Cheongseon, recounting the memories from the road of friendship. We'll now begin with the top news in our bulletin. Vietnam's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh held a phone conversation with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi on the 15th of May.
Vietnam's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh affirmed Vietnam's strong objection to China's recent actions and requested the latter to immediately remove the Hai Yang Shiyu 981 oil rig and its escorts from Vietnam's territorial waters. He emphasized that China's move has seriously and negatively affected the trust between the two countries and the friendship between the two peoples, adding that China's actions went against agreements between the leaders of both countries' fundamental principles on resolving maritime issues and international law. Minh reiterated that Vietnam had acted with utmost restraint, adding that the recent riots in Vietnam, which had caused damage to foreign enterprises, were violations committed by particular individuals. He said the Vietnamese government has carried out measures to stabilize the situation and impose appropriate punishment for the violations. He assured that Vietnam would do everything in its power to protect the safety of foreign investors in their businesses, while asking that the two foreign ministries to maintain close contact to deal with relevant issues in a timely fashion.
At a regular press conference on Thursday, Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Lê Hải Bình stressed that Vietnam would do its utmost in order to guarantee the security of foreign investors and their capital. In response to recent disruptive marches opposing China's illegal installation of the oil rig Hai Yang Shiyu 981.
According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Vietnam is consistently holding dialogues with China to oppose its recent behavior. In particular, the installation of the Hai Yang Shiyu 981 oil rig in Vietnam's territorial waters. However, China has persistently maintained and even expanded its misconduct by sending more vessels and aircrafts to the area.
According to Vietnamese authorities, China still has many military vessels, maritime civilian ships, and military aircrafts protecting the Hai Yang Shiyu 918 oil rig. Vietnam has exercised extreme restraint despite the aggressive actions on China's side, which has prevented Vietnam from taking actions to protect its sovereign rights.
According to the spokesperson, Vietnam has firmly requested China to remove their oil rig from Vietnamese territorial waters. He also stated that Vietnam would like to thank other countries, organizations and individuals around the world who have voiced their support for Vietnam. When asked if China's action hinders the two countries' cooperation and trade exchange, Lê Hải Bình confirmed that trading activities are still taking place as usual.
As always, Vietnam values its strategic partnership and friendship with China, and Vietnam is trying to maintain normal cooperation for the benefit of the two countries. As far as I'm aware, all trading activities are still occurring as usual.
Regarding the aggressive marches against Chinese and Taiwanese enterprises, Bình affirmed that Vietnamese authorities had immediately dealt with the situation and had strictly punished those who committed these aggressive crimes.
The acts of vandalism were caused by a few agitated individuals. The Vietnamese government and Vietnamese people strongly condemn such acts. We will use all necessary measures to ensure the safety of the people and guarantee the rights and benefits of enterprises, including Taiwanese enterprises, throughout the whole country.
Spokesperson Lê Hải Bình also stressed that Vietnamese people are very patriotic regardless of where they are. It is normal for them to express their concerns over the country's sovereign rights. However, any action must take place within the framework of the law.
On Thursday morning, in an urgent message sent to official authorities, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng said that people across the country have indicated their patriotism by opposing China's installation of the illegal oil rig in Vietnam's waters. And while nonviolent opposition is a legitimate act, in some localities a number of extremists have sabotaged properties of foreign investors and resisted law enforcement forces. Prime Minister Dũng said that such actions must be strictly punished by the law. The Prime Minister asked the Ministry of Public Security and relevant agencies to prevent and penalize similar unlawful actions. He also asked the relevant forces to ensure the absolute safety of lives and properties so that enterprises in affected areas can resume normal operations. The Prime Minister further stated that Vietnam always does its best in order to create favorable conditions for foreign businesses and agencies in Vietnam, in accordance with the law. Moving now on to other news, authorities in the southern province of Bình Dương have mobilized forces in order to ensure security and order at locally based industrial zones. According to our VTV reporter's latest updates, many businesses resumed production this morning. We have more details to follow.
At the VSIP-1 Industrial Park, production at more than 100 out of 214 enterprises has returned to normality. VSIP-1 was one of the zones where disturbances took place a few days ago. According to the economic zone's trade union, it has held talks with workers to urge them to show their patriotism properly without causing public disorder, appropriating and destroying assets, and taking action against on-duty officials. Causing the public disorder is wrong. I know that protecting our company is protecting our jobs. Foreign investors are here to work and to bring in income, so we should ensure security for them. There are currently some 1,000 enterprises with around 5,000 Taiwanese businessmen and specialists working in Bình Dương province. Local authorities visited Kaiser this week, a Taiwanese wood processing company located in Bến Cát town that was damaged during the protest against China's illegal placement of a drilling rig in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone. So far, 60% of foreign specialists at the company have returned to work.
This was an unexpected incident. We hope the enterprises stay calm because we are working on it. We will stabilize the situation as quickly as possible.
The provincial leader also said that Bình Dương province will apply measures to help enterprises recover any losses they incurred during the protest. In return, foreign businesses in the southern provinces have pledged to resume operations soon.
Chairman of the Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee, Lê Hoàng Quân, met with the associations of foreign enterprises and consul representatives from the southern region on Thursday. At the meeting, which was held in response to the recent vandalism of foreign businesses, the chairman confirmed that Vietnamese authorities have never tolerated aggressive acts that threaten the safety of security here in the country.
At the meeting with consul representatives from Singapore, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Thailand, China, India and Malaysia, countries which have a large number of enterprises operating in Ho Chi Minh City, Quân confirmed that the recent chaos was conducted by subversive elements who took advantage of peaceful marches opposing China's illegal oil rig in Vietnam's territorial waters. This aggressive provocation, which has damaged the property of foreign enterprises and psychologically affected them, is a violation of law and will be strictly dealt with.
We assert that we will never shield and tolerate the extremists who have caused this chaos affecting foreign enterprises. We know that the foreign investors now feel unsafe. The Vietnamese government and the authorities of Ho Chi Minh City will bring this matter to light and never confuse the issues of politics and economics.
Speaking at the meeting, the representatives of the consuls valued the prompt response of the local authorities. However, representatives from the consuls of the Republic of Korea, Malaysia and Japan requested that the local authorities consider appropriate remuneration for damages the enterprises have suffered. Prior to this request, Ho Chi Minh City's authorities confirmed that they will send a direct report to the government to ask for support in terms of tax for the affected enterprises.
We will order the relevant authorities and the management boards of industrial zones to check the damage and have supporting policies for the affected enterprises.
On the same day, the local authorities of Ho Chi Minh City also had a meeting with the Association of Foreign Enterprises in the area of the city. The local authorities confirmed that they would do their best to protect foreign enterprises.
Province. Now, the event was one of the activities taking place as part of the Students with the National Sea and Islands 2014 program. Following the ceremony, students donated money to the Spratly or Chunsa Fund, which will be used to pay for scholarships for poor students living on Phu Quoc Island, while supporting also activities on the Paracel and Spratly archipelago. The Thừa Thiên Huế Friendship Association held a meeting on Thursday to object to the illegal deployment of a Chinese drilling rig and a large number of vessels and aircraft in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf. At the event, members of the Vietnam-Lao, the Vietnam-Japan, the Vietnam-US, as well as Vietnam-Russia, and especially the Vietnam-China Friendship Associations vehemently opposed the acts of China in Vietnam's waters. They confirmed Vietnam's indisputable sovereignty over the Spratly and Paracel archipelagos and requested China to immediately withdraw the oil rig Haiyang Shiyo 981 from Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf. The delegates also expressed their endorsement to the measures being taken by the government to protect Vietnam's territorial waters. At the event, the delegates also donated money to support the forces protecting Vietnam's sovereignty in the EC. Now, after China's illegal placement of an oil rig in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone, followed by attacks on Vietnamese vessels, the international community and Japanese expats in particular have voiced their opposition to China's acts and shown their sympathy with Vietnam regarding this issue.
China's illegal placement of an oil rig and its attack on Vietnamese vessels is unacceptable. China has violated international law in all aspects. I hope China will discontinue activities at the oil rig and withdraw it from Vietnam's waters. The EC dispute has attracted a great deal of attention in Japan, and Asahi Shimbun reserves a considerable amount of our daily issue to report on the matter. ASEAN's response to Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng speech at ASEAN Summit last Sunday made the front page of our newspaper. We also dedicate a column to grab readers' opinions and request for the oil rig to be withdrawn from Vietnamese waters. China's actions in the EC are unacceptable. They are clearly aggressive and violations of law. We also have similar issues with China regarding the Senkaku Islands, so I feel extremely angry. China has done the same thing in Japan, Vietnam, and the Philippines. We had the same problem in the Senkaku Islands, but Japan has tried to avoid disputes since our nation loves peace. China might be a powerful country with a strong military and economy, but using these trends to threaten neighboring countries is unacceptable. I hope China will hold its actions. I think Vietnam should call for international support and let the world know about China's illegal acts that threaten regional peace and stability.
Coming up here in our live edition of VTV News, Vietnam is cited as a top 10 best value holiday destination. And then later on, it's off to Cheongsam, where we'll recount the memories of what has become known as the Road of Friendship. You're back here on our live edition of VTV News. Now, Vietnam has been named second among the top 10 best value holiday destinations by leading global travel search site Skyscanner. Now, the site says that despite its rise in popularity over the last few years, Vietnam is still super cheap and a beautiful country to visit. Visitors can easily get by on £5 per day, which includes a guest house, local food, transport, and a bit of drinking. Rounding off the top 10 travel destinations are Cambodia, India, Bolivia, Hungary, as well as Honduras, Bulgaria, Argentina, and Greece. A conference entitled Solution for the Development of Large-Scale Agricultural Production with High-Tech Applications was jointly held this Thursday in Hanoi by the State Bank of Vietnam in cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The event attracted representatives from state agencies, policymakers, and leading experts.
During the conference, delegates highlighted the essence of the model as well as the challenges of implementing it in Vietnam.
Currently, Vietnamese enterprises need to conduct their own research and import technologies since advocating policies are rare. We could lend money to transform technology over 6 months, but it normally takes at least 5 years for full application.
The demand for applying large-scale production and high technology in agriculture is huge, but enterprises do not have the resources or adequate support policies. Consequently, the number of enterprises that have applied the model is limited.
We do not have enough information or clear definition of high technology. Right now, we should redefine the standards for high-tech application to match current conditions. The most important thing is to change our mindsets. I think in this case, it's our mechanism.
The government has conducted nationwide surveys and will start investing in 20 experimental models which make use of the high technology, collaboration between enterprises and farmers, and value chains. The program will run over the course of 2 years.
The Singapore International Foundation and the General Science Library of Ho Chi Minh City launched a project entitled the Mobile Digital Library Project, Words on Wheels, and this was on Thursday. Now, the 3-year project will encourage the reading culture among some 3,000 students in Ho Chi Minh City and help them access English and computer learning tools. The truck housing the library will make 114 trips to high schools in some 56 rural communes around Ho Chi Minh City metropolitan area. Library staff and Singaporean volunteers will perform storytelling activities, teach students English and computer skills that will help them to improve their reading habits. In the late 1960s, the Tieng Anh route was established in Laos to help aid Vietnam's Revolutionary War. On the 55th anniversary of the legendary Ho Chi Minh Trail, let's return to this route and witness the changes as well as recount the memories and emotions that the Laos people have shared for the Vietnamese soldiers.
This road runs through a peaceful village like many others in Laos' rural area, but it was once part of the legendary Ho Chi Minh Trail on the west of Trường Sơn route in Savannakhet province. 40 years have passed, but memories of this road are still vivid in many local people. At that time, American aircraft were bombing fiercely day and night, and we had to live in the forest without food or shelter. We later shared our transportation and food with our Vietnamese friends. In only 10 years, the Americans bombed the area 733,000 times with about 4 million tons of bombs. Everything from the supply line, including bridges and cars, were targeted. Hills were leveled to the ground, forests were burned, and land was contaminated by poisonous chemicals. But many generations of Lao people still stood side by side to assist and protect Vietnamese soldiers in the routes. We tried our best to help with everything we could to build the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Local ethnic Lao people considered Vietnamese soldiers as part of their families, so they took care of them, especially when they were wounded. That was a very special connection that we all had. And nearly 20,000 kilometers in length running from Kham Muat province to the southern part of Laos with 5 bypasses and 21 secret roads. The Ho Chi Minh Trail is one reminder that vividly expresses the solidarity of the coalition between Vietnam and Laos.
An earthquake measuring 4.7 on the Richter scale occurred at about 7:30 p.m. local time on Thursday in A Lưới district of Thừa Thiên Huế province. Now, this information was recorded by the Quake and Tsunami Warning Center here in the country. People in some wards around Huế City were able to feel this earthquake, and the aftershocks also occurred in Hương Thủy town, knocking down furniture and damaging, it is said, some property. The center stated that an earthquake of this magnitude is considered abnormal in this region. We now move on to our in-week edition of Vietnam Online. Vietnam Online begins with an article from Vietnam Net Bridge that tells the story of Jerome and Linda, a French couple and their 2 small sons who have traveled to many countries in Asia by bike or hitchhiking. Staying in Vietnam for a month, they visited the Mekong Delta region and then traveled from the south to the north of the country. Living in the city of Grenoble in southeastern France, Linda Bouffier was a craft trader whose time was always occupied with work. When her sons Martin and Simon reached the ages of 5 and 3, Linda told her husband Jerome of her plan of traveling together to bring the family closer. The couple then decided to suspend their business in a year and took the children to Asia last July. Malaysian conglomerate Berjaya Corporation Berhad has won an international tender to establish a computerized lottery system in Vietnam, in cooperation with the state-owned Vietnam Lottery Company, or Vietlot. According to GamingIntelligence.com, the Vietnamese Ministry of Finance issued a request for proposal last June, in conjunction with Vietlot, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Ministry of Finance, inviting proposals to undertake the procurement, installation, and operation of a nationwide computerized lottery system.
Vietnam will be among the 20 largest economies by 2050, Malaysia's Rakyat Post reported a senior foreign business executive as saying. Raj Subramaniam, Executive Vice President, Marketing and Communications of logistics firm FedEx Services, said the Group Mint, which comprises of Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey, and the Group Civets, which include Colombia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Egypt, Turkey, and South Africa, are rich with possibilities, and these young, vibrant new players are just starting to flex their muscles. Subramaniam went on to say that Vietnam possesses a huge market full of potential buyers, abundant natural resources and commodities to sell, as well as a young and increasingly well-educated population
that is eager to work and has money to spend. Vietnam recorded a trade surplus of $810 million in April, compared with an initial government estimate of a deficit of $400 million, the Business Times Singapore quoted Vietnam Customs as saying on Thursday. Exports in April reached $13.07 billion, up 6.5% from the previous month, while imports eased 1.7% from March to $12.26 billion, the Customs Department under the Finance Ministry said on its website. Limitless, a wholly owned Dubai government company, is still chasing the $550 million hotel and luxury apartment project in Vietnam it announced 7 years ago. According to Gulf News, Vietnamese government officials met with Limitless in Dubai this week, where they discussed the development. The project, named Ha Long Star, if successful, will be developed in the Ha Long Bay area in Quảng Ninh province. Limitless is involved in a joint venture to complete the mixed-use residential and tourism project that has been hit by delays due to reported human resources and financial issues.
In the following, let's have a look at your updated weather forecasts. And that wraps up this edition of VTV News. We'll be back again at 6 p.m. local time today. In the meantime, do log on to vtv4.vn for more updated news. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you more in a bit.